So what we see now is 3 books that I've bought over the last year and used as reference points for the work I do in supporting our young people and meeting their sensory processing needs. If you look in the booklet, you'll see on photograph 5 there's a young man on a therapy ball, and this is one of the ideas we've kind of taken from reading these books. Is he goes out and he chooses to use his therapy ball and he'll bounce up and down on the therapy ball over and over and over again. And what that gives him is what we term as vestibular input, in which it's his body just remind itself and recognising its place in space at any given time. And this can be created in other ways by running up and down or going on a trampoline. What he also requests is that I put my hand on his shoulders, and every now and again when he counts down from 3, I will just press down gently on his shoulders to create an extra gravitational effect. What that gives him also is a real deep proprioceptive input. And what you'll find with vestibular and proprioceptive input, and I reference this from the Out of Sync Child book that you see, is when children do, or when young people do vestibular activities, what you can find is whilst they get that movement input, it can actually be an energizer for them, and they can then go on and be active or more active throughout that day, which isn't always a good thing. What you gain by doing the proprioceptive stuff at the same time and giving that deep pressure is at the same time it's an organising and a calming input, so they kind of balance each other out. So then when he goes back to class, he's received his movement input, but he's also received a real calming and organising input that allows him to go and access learning. And we do monitor this. If you look on the next page, you'll see a tally chart that we take before and after his sensory input. And what we hope is what we see is a lot of repetitive, stereotypical sort of behaviours that this young man does in his class. That at times we theorise it can distract him or take him away from his learning because he's trying to receive or he's trying to gain that sensory input and that need that he has. We hope that by providing that input, that then allows him to go and focus on his task at hand and what he needs to do. And the tally chart that you're looking at kind of shows that over the first and third boxes tend to show him before, and then the second and fourth show him afterwards. What I will say about the books is they are, and you tend to find this generally with sensory processing books, is they are kind of aimed at young children and preschoolers. So while some of the activities are relevant and the theory behind it is relevant to our young people are secondary school kids, so the activities aren't always age appropriate. So we've had to think of different ways in meeting these sensory needs. If you look at photograph 6, you'll see a young man lifting the chair, and what he's doing is he's putting these chairs into a place where they came from because the activity is now finished. And this kind of gives him a similar sort of proprioceptive input that allows him to go and access learning activities later on. We also, every day I also take him, and after dinner times he'll go into the dining room and he'll assist the dining room staff and the cleaning staff in taking the chairs and tables and putting them away, and that gives him real good input to put him into good shape and a good frame of mind for his afternoon's activities.